I am a tea drinker rather than a coffee drinker. My favorite tea is chai. And a little while ago, my husband and I were looking through some boxes, and I discovered a stash of multiple different chai teas. So I'm going to be doing a review of these chai teas that I discovered, as well as some that I already drink somewhat regularly. I'm going to do 3 different groupings of 4 different types of chai each. I'll give you my opinion in terms of what I like with chai. Is I love ginger-based chai in terms of spice. I'm not a fan of cinnamon. In fact, I would be ecstatic if they would stop putting cinnamon in chai. I don't really like cinnamon in my chai, but unfortunately most tea places put cinnamon. So it just is what it is. I like it with a little bit of cream, maybe more than just a little cream. I like a fair amount of cream and sugar. So think about me, my husband, he teases me. Whenever I try an American dessert, my first response most of the time is it's too sweet. It's too sweet. It is always too sweet. American desserts are crazy on the sugar. So I like things that just have just enough sugar so you can kind of taste it. So that's how I like my chai teas. I will not be reviewing, they sell those cartons of chai, specifically because they are pre-sweetened. Those carton chais, they're pretty good in the flavor in terms of the complexity and the richness of the spices, but they're pre-sweetened and I do not like the amount of sugar they put in them, so I never buy those. So all the teas that I'm going to review today are tea bags. Okay, so keep watching and you will see what I think. So I have already pre-mixed all these chais and tasted them and took some notes because I love my notes. And I did follow the instructions to a tea. So I steep them at the temperature and for the amount of time that's written on the back of the packages. And let me start with the holy basil. This one has a very earthy flavor. It's very light in terms of chai tea. I would really say that it's pretty watered down. Like it's a very watered down chai and a very earthy tea. This is the Spice Dragon Red Chai. When I tried this, it's the first flavor that hits me is cinnamon. It's a very distinct cinnamon flavor with some subtleties of some winter, fall type of spices. But I almost don't even want to call it a chai. To me, they might as well just say cinnamon tea as far as I'm concerned. And then we get to this ginger fire chai. It's called fire chai because it is spicy in terms of a sort of a white pepper type of a heat. So it definitely has a punch. And then the last one is this chai green. It is also a very earthy flavor and is also watered down. And honestly, when I tried this one, I went back and then I tried the holy basil again and went back and forth, back and forth. They're very similar. So out of these 4 non-traditional chai teas, the one that I would consider a winner is, of course, this ginger fire chai. Only because it is spicy. It's got a kick to it, and I like things with heat. So this is pretty good for an herbal tea, in my opinion. Okay, so round 2 of chai tea tasting. This is what I would call somewhat specialty chais. I have 2 that are vanilla chais, and then I have 2 that are ultra spice chais. Now, looking at my notes, this one definitely has, this is the Bigelow Vanilla Chai. This one definitely has an undertone of vanilla flavor to it. I thought the spices were a nice medium amount of spice. and no one spice seems to jump out more than another. So I'm not getting that overwhelming cinnamon flavor that I find in a lot of typical chai teas. Next is the Good Earth, also a vanilla chai. It has complex flavor. It's unique. It has a weird undertone that I'm not quite sure. I know they put hickory in this, and I think it's a hickory flavor that kind of almost overpowers the other flavor. It's just it comes to the surface. So I would say I wasn't super fond of the flavor mixture in this one. And then we come to this double spice chai. This one follows the pattern of many American chai tea companies. Lots of cinnamon. I taste cinnamon. In terms of it being a double spice, it's hard to say. You know, when I taste a chai and cinnamon is what stands out, it's really hard for me to say that it's a double spice. Maybe it's just double cinnamon. I don't know. And then the last one, they call it ultra spice. To be honest, these two are so similar. I'm not sure I could distinguish them very much. There's some subtleties, but all in all, these two taste the same. So in terms of this whole batch of these four, the one that I like and would actually buy again is this one. I do like the vanilla. I like that cinnamon is not what stands out when I try this one. There's no weird after flavor. So this is actually one that I would be happy to have in my regular tea stash. Alright, we are on the last round of chais. These are my favorite. These are the more stereotypical thing that you're looking for in a chai. So let's get at it. This is just a regular black chai. It didn't come with any instructions in terms of water temperature or amount of steeping time, so I just did it the same as all the others. But honestly, this just tastes like tea that was over steeped, where the bitterness of the black tea is really strong. Just the tea leaves basically overwhelm the spices. I would say this is awful. It's possible that maybe you just need to steep it for 2.5-3 minutes. Most chais you steep about 4 or 5 minutes. But gosh, it's just kind of bitter. Pretty unpleasant. This is just a regular chai. Like most chai teas, cinnamon is the predominant flavor. So I would really call this more of a spicy cinnamon. There's just other spices in there. And then we get to the Bigelow, which is another spice chai. But I think this one is well balanced. The cinnamon is not predominant. It's not overwhelming the other flavors. I enjoyed drinking that one. And then the last one, I don't have a tea bag for it. It's actually Blue Lotus chai, their traditional masala chai. It's ground up spices, and it's not a tea bag. You don't need to put it into a tea bag like you would a loose leaf tea. You just put it directly into the cup and then just drink it from there. This one is also what I would call a pretty well balanced tea. I love this chai, but I don't buy it very often because it is on the spendier side. But if you just wanted to treat yourself, have a little pampering, this is the chai I would go to. This is my I want something special chai, but not something I would do every day because it's pretty costly in terms of per cup. The second runner up it's also nice because this one has a decaf version. There's a version where it's just full black tea with the caffeine. I would say this is a pretty good runner-up. These two are pretty similar in terms of being balanced in the flavors. It doesn't have the heat that the Blue Lotus has, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the videos, I like a little heat in my chai. I like tasting that ginger heat. Outside of chai tea, my favorite tea is actually ginger tea, and when I make ginger tea, it's strong. If it's not burning your mouth a little bit, it's not strong enough in my opinion. So I definitely like strong ginger flavors, and I like it. I like the heat from that. So the Blue Lotus chai gives just enough heat that adds some complexity and some interest to the chai, but without overwhelming the other spices. So honestly, all out of all 3 rounds, this one is my favorite of all of them. It's great. I love it. Just amazing. Amazing tea. Love it. So in summary, these were my favorite chais out of all 12 that we tried. If you're looking for an herbal tea, I would say the ginger fire chai, only because it's fun in terms of the heat. It's a very bold flavor. In terms of maybe a specialty chai, I like the vanilla chai. It's pretty well rounded, but with just a hint of vanilla. It's not very dissimilar, I would say, from the Bigelow Spice chai, but this has more spices in it. This is very subtle in terms of the chai flavor. This is much closer to a traditional chai. And again, they do make this in both caffeinated and decaffeinated varieties. My all-time favorite of all 12 chais is the Blue Lotus. I mean, hands down. I love this tea. I wish it wasn't quite so expensive, or I would only buy this and it would be the only chai I ever use. It has just enough heat from the ginger and the complexity. There's no predominant cinnamon flavor in it. And it's just a nice complex flavor. I also like the fact that you don't have to put it in a tea bag. You just put it in a cup, put hot water, add either half and half or milk, one of the two, sugar, and then it's good to go. It's really easy to make. So there you have it. I have gone through 12 different types of chai with a very clear winner in my book, and then a runner-up. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.